video we'll be discussing the Pixar theory. If you aren't familiar with the Pixar theory, link in the description below to a couple of videos explaining what it is. Link also in the description to the website of the guy who actually came up with the theory. The website takes a little bit longer to navigate than the videos do, but it goes into more detail. Also, link to a video I made a little while back about the Pixar movie Up and how it relates and fits into the Pixar theory. I would suggest watching this video, and not just because I made it and I want people to watch it. Totally not just because of that reason. Totally. Now, I am a big supporter and believer in the Pixar theory, but there are certain parts of it that I'm not really sure how much I agree with, as my video about Up kind of shows. Watch it. Another one of the things besides Carl that I'm not really sure how much I agree with is magic and how it relates and fits into the Pixar theory. The original theory states that Boo from Monsters, Inc. is the witch from Brave, and that she's traveling through time and stuff, and she's the reason why a lot of different things happen, and I'm just not sure how much I believe in this. Now, I'd like to start off by saying that Brave kind of sticks out like a sore thumb when it comes to the Pixar universe. Besides Up and The Incredibles, Brave is the only movie that is actually about humans, and notice that I say about. I realize that all the Toy Story movies, both Monsters, Inc. movies, Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, WALL-E, Ratatouille, and Inside Out all have humans as characters, but they're not who the movie is mainly about. The Toy Story movies are about toys, obviously. The Monsters, Inc. movies are about monsters, obviously. Finding Nemo and Finding Dory are about fish. Ratatouille is about rats. WALL-E is about robots, and Inside Out really focuses more on the emotions and not so much the humans themselves. In these movies, the humans are just side characters and extras, with at the most being secondary characters. They aren't really the main characters of the movies. So Up, The Incredibles, and Brave are the only movies that are centered around humans. The only movies. There are no others. Absolutely none at all. Okay, fine, maybe Inside Out if you insist, but personally, I don't really think it should count. But Brave sticks out for other reasons than just being centered around movies. Like how Brave is the only Pixar movie to have a Disney princess. I mean, if you take a look at the Disney princesses, Merida is the only one from a Pixar movie. Honestly, when you watch Brave, it feels like it should belong with Tangled and Frozen, not Monsters, Inc. and Cars. But it doesn't. It is a Pixar movie, and just like any other Pixar movie, it somehow contributes to how everything ties together. And that contribution is magic. And that's something else that sets it even farther apart from the rest of the movies. It is the only Pixar movie that we see magic. And magic happens to be a pretty big part of how the Pixar theory ties together. However, I kind of disagree with how it works. Just as a recap, the Pixar theory states that Boo is the witch. Boo somehow discovered magic and then used it to start traveling through time, and there's something about her finding wood and finding out that it's like has magical properties or can be used as an energy source or something like that. I don't really know. It's not really all that clear. Point is, there's really only two pieces of evidence that support the witch being Boo, and that's the carving of the Pizza Planet truck and the carving of Sully that are both found in the witch's workshop. And personally, I think this is kind of flimsy evidence. Now, I don't really have an explanation as to why those two carvings are in the witch's workshop if she isn't Boo, but the thing is, it just doesn't really make sense. I mean, like, one of the big supports is, oh, the witch is bear obsessed because she's Boo, because Boo wants to try and find Sully, but that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, to me, it would make a lot more sense if she was obsessed with giant blue creatures with horns. I mean, yes, Sully does kind of look like a bear. Kind of. Like how Don Carlton kind of looks like an octopus. Kind of. It just doesn't really make sense for the witch to have a bear fetish if she's Boo. That just doesn't really seem to add up to me. And the witch is supposed to be a big part of the Pixar theory as well, because everyone states that her magic is what causes the animals to start gaining and evolving to have this higher intelligence. But we see them evolving on their own. Like, we see them having a higher intelligence on their own, without the witch. And yes, I realize that the dinosaurs die off, but there is a very long period between The Good Dinosaur and Ratatouille in which other animals could have started to evolve this higher intelligence on their own, without the witch. Should have just called this video Why I Don't Think the Witch is Boo. But sort of getting back on track here, we've only really seen one example of magic in the Pixar universe, and that's Brave. Magic does not exist before Brave, and so far it doesn't exist after it. And that means that we have very little to go off of when trying to understand how magic works in the Pixar universe. Now, Brave does kind of show us where magic comes from, as it seems to have something to do with, like, human souls and the will of the wisps or whatever, but we don't really get to see how the magic works. We see a witch enchant a broomstick, and a bunch of knives. That's about it. Nothing is ever really explained, which is why I'm kind of really excited about Coco. First, it'll be a movie centered around humans, which, remember, really isn't all that common in the Pixar universe, but it looks like magic is going to be a pretty big part of the movie, which will hopefully help explain it better since we get very little explanation in Brave. Now, after this long rant trashing major parts of the Pixar theory, you'd think I'd have a reasonable alternate explanation. You'd think. Truth is, I don't. Yet. I'm hoping to come out with a video soon that will give an explanation of my take on the Pixar theory. Just as soon as I come up with one. Anyway, that's all for now. Email me, comment, like, subscribe. Please subscribe. This is the Gravity Falls Gossiper, signing off.
Toby determined, Gravity Falls Gossiper. Do you really think this constitutes a wonder of the world?
Your microphone's a turkey baster, Toby.